Hello and welcome back to the Ironman. So in this episode, I think I'm going to start off by finishing the easy and medium dungeoneering tasks. It's just going to help especially on rush floors because we won't have to craft our law and cosmic runes anymore. We'll just be able to grab them as soon as we start a floor, which will save a little bit of time. Okay, I entered into the wilderness, and that should be the last thing that I needed for the easy tasks, so I can go and claim that now. I still have a couple more I need to do for the medium. So for those of you who don't play Ironman, it's a little bit different for your Daemonheim tasks, but what Ironmen need to do is we need to enter the first 6 resource dungeons you can unlock within 6 minutes or less. And I tried this one once already and I failed it because I didn't really properly plan out a route, but I'm going in with a plan this time. I brought teleports, which will get me closer to the resource dungeons, and I'm also going to use a little bit of Viswax to add some quick teleports to the Lodestone network, which will just save a couple seconds. So hopefully I'll succeed this time. Okay, it looks like this is going to go off without a hitch. Yeah, we got the achievement. It looks like, planning out your route before trying to do something in a timed amount of time is maybe a good idea, as it turns out. Okay, I completed Three's Company again, and this time I did it correctly, and we get the full rewards, which also means we've done all of the tasks that we need for the medium diary. Okay, I got my XP lamps for doing the medium and easy tasks. It's about 10,000 XP total, and now it's probably time to address a change in where all of my free XP is going into. Instead of putting everything in Herblore, from now on I'm going to be putting it into Agility, and the main reason why is Herblore, although it is difficult to train at lower levels, it is mostly trained through combat, and there's monsters that you can camp and get lots of herbs and train it that way. In Agility, there's no easy way to train it other than just doing Agility. And simply for the sake of having more fun in the game, enjoying RuneScape and not burning out, I will be putting lamps in Agility because I truly despise training the skill, and I don't really mind camping monsters for herbs all that much. So is it the most efficient thing to do? No, not until you unlock Vyres at least, but it's what we're going to be doing from now on. So we've had some pretty substantial upgrades to our Dungeoneering kit. I now start every floor with 40 Law Runes and 40 Cosmic Runes. I used 3 of them to make a Gatestone already, but I also have a tier 60 bow bound. I have a tier 60 main hand melee weapon at least bound. I haven't been able to find an offhand yet. And I also have a tier 60 staff that does not need runes. So I no longer have to do any runecrafting to start a floor, and I have all 3 combat styles. So I'm set in Guardian Door rooms with very high level monsters that have specific weaknesses. I'm no longer just completely screwed when I run into those like I used to be. Okay, since we are getting pretty close to our target, DG-wise, I figured it's time to start a countdown. So here is going to be 86 Dungeoneering. I'm still going strong. I'm still doing mostly large floors. They're still pretty slow. But also, one other thing I wanted to talk about really quickly is a couple of you have suggested that I try out Group Ironman Dungeoneering, since yes, it is out. As of just a couple of months ago, I think it was a recent update. However, it's not really possible to do Group Ironman Dungeoneering unless you have a effective team that you can find, and unless you're part of a large Ironman clan, there just isn't really a way to do that at the moment. So I think I'll give it a pass, at least just to get to 90 DG, and we'll look into it sometime in the future, maybe when I want to go to 115 Dungeoneering to unlock the Edemu dungeon in Prif. That would be a good way to do that, but also, along with the update for Group Ironman Dungeoneering, the XP rate for solo Dungeoneering got buffed as well. So we're doing okay. It's not a fast skill, but we only have 4 levels left to go. Okay, it is about time for another DG level. I believe we should get enough XP from this floor to secure it. So I'm also unlocking a new floor. That's big, but we just hit 87 Dungeoneering and 86k XP for that dungeon. Not bad, considering I still had quite a few doors I didn't unlock because lacking skill requirements. I wonder if that means if I ever theoretically got a fully unlocked dungeon, I could get 100k XP just from, one of these higher level occult floors. And it's finally time for a new Dungeoneering level. It's been a while since last one, and this one is just coming as I'm doing my rush floors, 88 DG. Okay, it's that time again. We are getting really close to our goal. And we have about 60k DG XP to go. I don't always get that much XP from a large floor, but this is also my most opened floor ever. As you can tell by the map in the top left, I opened every single room except for one. I've never had a fully open floor before because there's always a really high skill requirement door, but we get a fat chunk of XP. My goodness, almost 100k and 89 DG. So it's time to get another level, and this time it isn't Dungeoneering, it's Runecrafting. So we just hit 66. Runecrafting has been my AFK skill of choice this week as I've been working on homework and stuff, and the reason for that, I'll get into it more once we start ports. But why is 66 important? It's because we can now enter the top level of the Runespan. So here's the top level of Runespan. It has a completely different look. It has new S-wraiths, and I'm mostly sticking to the same nodes, of course, because I'm not a high enough level to get any of the new nodes, other than I think the basic Death Rune one. But yeah, just some progress in Runecrafting. I have a lot more Runecrafting to do, man. The goal is 92. I don't know if that's going to happen this semester or not, but I'm going to go for it. And since I've been doing Runecrafting, I've been saving up some points, and I'm going to spend some of them now in order to upgrade our Wicked set. So I'm going to get the Wicked Cape, which is the lowest level one. It only costs 2.5k points, and I'm just realizing now, every time you click on Wicked Cape, it adds another one to your purchase. So I'm buying 7 Wicked Capes at the moment. I'm sure I can just re-enter the interface again to reset that, but we're going to buy 1 Wicked Cape, and I know that it upgrades your Wicked Hood slightly. Let's check it out. So it looks like we get 125 essence a day instead of 100, and then we also get 300 runes of our choice a day instead of the 200 that we got before. I'm still a ways away from upgrading the set again, but the next one will be the Wicked Road Bottom. I'm sure we'll get up to 7.5k points before too long. Okay, as you might be able to see by my chat bar down here, I just converted 20 bonds into a year of Premier membership. I've been really enjoying this account a lot, so I want to kind of commit to it, stick to it for the long haul. So we do get a bunch of stuff for getting Premier membership, and I'll have to look through it. I don't know what all Ironman gets access to, because I'm sure you don't get access to all the same stuff that normal accounts get, but I will claim the cosmetics and the various things that we do get. Well, the main thing that we get access to is the premium track on Yak Track, and so I've just had a lot of stuff to claim, and it's mostly been oddments. Oh, and of course the other benefit of the Premier membership is loyalty points, of course, so we now have Supreme Jack of Trades, which means we can use this once a day and get a pretty nice XP reward in any skill of our choice, which is likely going to be either Agility or Herbler. Okay, here we are in the Asgardian Ice Dungeon. I wanted to finish off the 90 Dungeoneering by doing something cool, and that is going to be checking out the Frost Dragon Resource Dungeon for the first time. There is 90 DG, our first really major skilling grind on this account. The first one I really committed to anyway is over, and that's what we were aiming for, Ports Adventurer the Exile. So now that we have one of the adventures unlocked, we can enter player-owned ports and start sending voyages. We will hop into player-owned ports in a second, and I'll go over some of my goals there, but before we do that, we have a lot of reward tokens to cash in. So if I did this grind a few years ago, the first thing I would want to buy is probably the Chaotic Staff. It is a very good weapon. However, I will not be purchasing it, and the reason why I won't be is because the Sun Spear is almost as good of a magic weapon, and also the Sun Spear can be used to train invention. So unfortunately, with the release of the invention skill and the release of the Sun Spear, the Chaotic Staff has kind of just been outmoded, and even though it is a slightly better weapon than the Sun Spear, accuracy and damage-wise, there are stronger magic weapons that I will be aiming for to use for PvM. So there just isn't really much point in getting a Chaotic Staff these days. But that doesn't mean there aren't useful things to buy. So the first thing I'm going to get is the Bone Crusher for 34k. This will crush all of the bones that drop on Slayer tasks. The next thing is Herbicide. We're going to be using this definitely as I continue to level up Herbler and use it for some of those low level herbs that I'm not going to be picking up anyway. The next one is Scroll of Life. This is just a useful upgrade for farming. You save some seeds, which is obviously important for Ironman because we don't have a better way of obtaining seeds. Amulet of Zealots is something I will be getting eventually. I'm just not sure if I want to buy it quite yet, but this will be a handy PvM upgrade in the future. Next, we're getting Scroll of Efficiency. This has just a 2% chance to refund the bars that we used when we make something via the smithing skill. Next is the Scroll of Proficiency. This does kind of the same thing for construction, just has a chance of refunding planks. Next is the Scroll of Dexterity. Also the same thing as the previous 2 scrolls, but it's for crafting. So this will be really useful when we're crafting dehides or anything else that requires 3 or more items. Not the most useful thing in the world, but it is cheap. Next is the Ring of Vigor. This is going to be our best in slot ring at the moment, although it looks like we need an attack level 62 for some reason, so we'll have to come back for that one. So we just unlocked the scrolls for now, but in the future we'll be coming back for the Demon Horn, the Ring of Vigor, the Spirit Cape, and the Amulet of Zealots once we have the required stats in order to purchase them. Okay, and here it is finally. We enter ports with an adventure unlocked, and we get to start the ports tutorial. Okay, the tutorial is complete. I have access to my first 2 ships and my first suite of voyages, and I know for the first region at least, these voyages don't take very long. It looks like, they only take about half an hour, so I might be able to do quite a few of them today. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about as we get into ports is, why are we doing ports? Why was I so eager to unlock this as soon as possible? So let's look at the reward section on the wiki and figure out what is the motivation to do ports exactly. So there's a lot of rewards from ports. There's armor, there's weapons, there are scrimshaws, there are rocktail soups. There's also comp cape requirements, but I'm not quite thinking about that yet. So the main reason to start ports early is because you unlock new regions the further you travel, aka the more voyages you go on. So it is somewhat time gated, and you don't get the missions that reward lots of resources that you use to craft the rewards until you're in the later regions. So the sooner you start ports, the sooner you get to those later regions, and the sooner you can unlock materials to make the armor and weapons and stuff. So really what we're aiming for, the first thing is the armors. So the Tetsu is for melee, it's tier 85 tank armor. Sea Singer is for mage, also tier 85 tank armor, and Death Lotus for the range. I will want to make all 3 sets. Ultimately, this is not going to be our late game, end game, ideal armor. That's going to probably be God Wars Dungeon 2 armor or something like that. But these 3 sets of armors will be invaluable in helping us do God Wars Dungeon 2 in order to get future armor upgrades, because I will have to do a lot of PVM in order to get the drops for the actual late game armor. So we'll need a kind of middle ground tier of armor in order to do that. The next thing is here for the weapons. We're not really that interested in the Death Lotus darts or the Tetsu swords, simply because there are better options, I think, that are going to require, less high requirements and less effort in order to get. But I am very interested in the Sea Singer Kiba and the Sea Singer Makagi, which are tier 85 dual wield magic weapons that can be upgraded to tier 88. These are some of the best magic weapons in the game. There are better ones, of course, but I think these are going to do us very well until very late game. And then finally, the last thing that I'm really interested in is the scrimshaws. There's a lot of different scrimshaws. We're going to need between level 85 to 95 fletching in order to make them. So it's going to be a while until we start making any of them. But a lot of these scrimshaws, especially the scrimshaw of vampirism, are in just absolutely invaluable for solo PVM, and can really help you do higher level content than you would be able to otherwise, or stay for longer trips. And are just going to be super useful for all of our late game PVM endeavors. So that is what we're aiming for to accomplish in ports eventually. Right now we're in the Arc, which is the first region. I think there are 6 regions total, unless more have been added since last time I did ports. But we have a lot to unlock, and we haven't found any of this yet. Although I guess if you hover over certain portions of the sea, you can tell what's in here. It looks like the final region on this map anyway is the Shield, but it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months to actually get there, depending on how much you keep up with your ports and how many voyages you're doing a day and how efficient with it you are. After finishing up 90 Dungeoneering with that insane grind, I've just been kind of taking a break, taking it easy. Still playing RuneScape, obviously, but just kind of chilling AFK and Runecrafting while playing other games. And it's paying off because we just hit 70 RC. Doesn't really look like that unlocks anything cool, but, we're looking forward to 77 for Blood Runes, and then ultimately 90 for Soul Runes and the Ports Adventurer. Okay, I've been putting this off for too long, not necessarily intentionally, but more just due to forgetting it, but it is time to finally give ourselves an actual ring to wear that provides, some use to Runeslayer. And that is going to be the Ring of Wealth. I do have the crafting level and the magic level required to make one. So there's our Dragonstone ring, and then we can enchant it, and we have our Ring of Wealth. So the Ring of Wealth is a tier 2 luck enhancer, and it also doesn't have terrible combat bonuses. So now our 2 ring options are going to be this and the Ring of Vigor, and I'll probably use one or the other, or perhaps both, depending on what the Slayer assignment is that we're doing, or what boss we're killing.
Oh, what's this? Another black mask. We don't necessarily need it, but I'll take it. I think they're worth, I don't know, I imagine they're worth a decent amount of money. It's not a terribly common drop, and no one really camps these. Oh, just kidding. They're worth absolutely nothing. It looks like they were worth a little bit over 2.5 mil in like mid-2020, and then they just dropped off a cliff to be worth absolutely nothing. So I don't know what happened in mid-2020, but do people not wear Slayer helms anymore?
Okay, this is just the week of AFK skill progression, I guess. I've been working on smithing a little bit. And if you look at my attack level, I'm only 62. I don't need to be able to smith Necronium yet because I can't wear the weapons. But since getting 70 defense, I can use the armor, and I'm kind of just getting out ahead of it a bit. So now we're set on being able to smith all of our melee weapons that we'll need until 80 attack. So we're going to be set for quite a while. Also, 70 smithing is a pretty relevant skill when it comes to questing. King of the Dwarves and Void Stairs Back are 2 that we're going to be interested in doing in the future. So we're going to finish off here at the Phasmatite ore. I am planning on making a full set of Necronium plus the weapon, all upgraded to +4. And since Necronium is a +4 variant, unlike Rune, this is going to be a lot of bars, man. I think I calculated it out to 256 Necronium bars we'll need for everything. So it's going to take a while to mine and smith all of that, so I'll be here. But anyway, that's going to end off this episode for now. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more of an exciting goal. 90 GG just took a while and it took a lot out of me, so I wasn't really up for like questing or combat or anything after that. So I just kind of took a break and did a lot of AFK skilling this week, but I'm planning on getting back into the questing. And also, I know that I mentioned wanting to get my 10 boss KC to unlock Warrior's Retreat like several episodes ago, and it just never happened because I kept getting distracted by other stuff, so maybe we'll finally finish that off as well. But that is all for me this time. I will see you all next time. So until then, goodbye.